How'd you get in here? Black metal guys! Hey, nerds, we don't play RPG games! Cheers everyone, and welcome back to Joe's Metal Mancave. We're gonna kick this collection update off by talking about a French black metal band that, by some strange coincidence, I have known about this band going all the way back to the early 2000s during my very early meanderings into the black metal genre, but for reasons I don't fully understand, I didn't buy the releases back then, and as time would go by, their releases would become very cult and very expensive to get, and as such, I never got them. The band in question is hirilorn, and this is the compilation known as Metalness of Annihilation. hirilorn was a French black metal band that existed from 1994 to 1999, and if I'm totally honest with you guys, this is one of the best kept secrets of the 90s black metal scene. No joke. The best and simplest way to describe hirilorn is that they were a melodic black metal band. But that wouldn't really do them justice, because if you think of melodic black metal, you're gonna immediately think, well, it probably sounds like Dimmu Borgir or Emperor or something that, has a more melodic and maybe not, overall, like black metal kind of feel to it. But hirilorn is very much a black metal band, and they have a very unique melodic touch to their music that, honestly, I've never heard any band that sounds exactly like this. There's this sort of galloping, epic sort of feel to their guitar work where it almost sounds like Iron Maiden and Graveland, and then this weird sort of melodicism that just, there's no other band that sounds exactly like this, and that's what makes them so unique. So throughout the band's career, which again was from 94 to 99, they released one demo, 3 splits, 1 EP, and a full-length album, and then a couple years after they broke up, a live album was released. The main attraction for getting this box set was for their full-length album, Legends of Evil and Eternal Death, which came out in 1999. Now, I originally heard this album back in, maybe 2010, via MP3s, of course. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was astounding, but even back then, it was pretty hard to track down. The original CD pressing, which was released by Tracker Productions, was limited to just 1,000 copies. And back then it was hard to get, and then there's been some vinyl reissues since then, but again, very limited, like 500 copies, and they instantly sold out. I think there was like cassette pressing as well. So it was always hard to get, and it really nagged me. It was always one of those main albums on my wish list, and I just was kind of like, well, I'm never gonna find it. And then just one day I was digging around Discogs, and I found this compilation. I was like, I have to buy it. Like, I didn't even care like what my bank account was. I had to buy it. And what you get at Litanies of Annihilation is literally everything the band released throughout their career. So you get the demo, the Hymn to the Ancient Souls, you get the 3 or the songs that were featured on the split recordings, you get the EP, then finally the live recording that came in 2004, as well as an unreleased, rehearsal album, which was never finalized because, and some people may know this, but 3 of the members of hirilorn went on and formed Deathspell Omega in 2000 or 99, somewhere around there. And obviously, everyone knows that Deathspell Omega is pretty much a household name and became a very influential black metal band. But somehow, even with that fact being in there, hirilorn has always been very underrated, and that's a real tragedy in my opinion, because there's just nothing else like this band. It's such strange melodicism, and especially on Legends of Evil and Eternal Death, there's 4 songs, but they're all well over 10 minutes long, and you might think to yourself, 10-minute plus songs, that's gonna be boring, but I'm telling you, there's just nothing boring about this album. It's just immense. I mean, come on, check this out. Love that, right? I mean, very unique riff. It's just nothing else sounded like that in the 90s, and honestly, off the top of my head, I can't really even think of anything else, even nowadays it sounds like that. Just really special stuff. Production-wise, it's raw, but certainly not like raw black metal. It's everything's fully heard, and I mean, maybe my only complaint with these recordings is I just wish the drums were a little better produced, but nevertheless, it's still really cool stuff. So I picked up this collection which is 3 CDs, might add. I think I only about $45 off of Discogs. It's a brand new copy, never even opened, so that was cool. It comes in this slipcase, but as you can see, it doesn't really slip out like it's supposed to. So every time I have to listen to this stuff, I have to peel each CD out. And, so yeah, A Hymn to the Ancient Souls is, of course, their demo from 1997. Then you get the split CD with Naziv, which is one single, that was later on paired up in 2000 with a band known as Naziv. Then you get one track from the Encyclopedia Peslatania, which came out in 1997, although it's just an alternative version of the song from the demo. Then you get a split tape, the one track, the split tape from Merrimack in 1998, which was a cover of Mayhem's Pagan Fears. And I think, looking back, that was like my initial inspiration for checking out this band. Just I was intrigued back in the early 2000s with Mayhem so much that I was like, I want to hear cover versions of that. So that's how I came across this band back then. Then you get the Revenge is Near live LP, which was released in 2004 but recorded in 1999. So there's the front cover of that one. I'm going to just kind of briefly show each booklet here. I mean, there's lyrics and just kind of everything you'd expect here. I think the only thing that's kind of like a letdown with all this is that there's not really like a band interview, or something like that. It would have been cool to see more promo photos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of the artwork's a tad weird, maybe. I don't know. But you get all the lyrics, you get the recording information, all that kind of good stuff that you'd expect. Pictures of all the original releases and so on and so forth. Yeah, very cool. So that's the Hymn to the Ancient Souls demo, which that in itself is very unique too. Nothing for something released in 1997, I can't think of anything that sounds, exactly like that. And, it doesn't sound Norwegian, it doesn't sound like, the Le Légion Noir sound. I mean, considering these guys are from France and all, I mean, it's just really interesting, I guess. So there's the booklet for Legends of Evil and Eternal Death. I mean, man, if you guys have never heard this, I implore you, I beg you to go check this album out. It is so fucking good, man. There's just nothing like this, man. And I'm so hyped to get this, man. Since I got this about a month ago, I've just been listening to it every week. It is so fucking good. Wish there was more pictures of the band though, but I don't know if there really was any promo photos taken actually. So yeah. So then anyway, the compilation concludes with a disc called Prophetic Tales of Armageddon, which is basically an unreleased rehearsal from 1999, but what I'm assuming was meant to be the band's second album. But of course, they kicked one of the members on, and the other 3 members carried on as Deathspell Omega. And what's kind of interesting about this is that you get a glimpse of the future of what could have been this band, while also kind of seeing the connection between the 2 bands. The rehearsal is raw and ugly and bears a lot of similarities to the Inquisitors of Satan and Infernal Battle CDs from Deathspell Omega. So it's just really fascinating, I guess, to see those connections, and I'm really grateful they included this. I mean, yeah, it's raw, it's fucking ugly, but certainly very cool to hear it. And I mean, obviously, this is the only way you can hear this kind of stuff because it was never officially released or until now. So yeah, man. If you've never heard hirilorn, I can't just absolutely beg you to go check this band out. I mean, forget about any modern day black metal. Just go back to 1990, check this band out. It is absolutely amazing stuff. hirilorn. Alright, continuing on, and I have to start off by thanking my buddy Deceiver from the band Nocturne's Mist for sending this to me. Thank you so much, man. I have really enjoyed this one. So the album in question here is Nexul and their latest album, Iracalla, from 2021. Nexul, in case you don't know them, is a long-running Australian black metal band formed all the way back in 1993. I guess a lot of people, or at least some people, know their 1995 album Totem, which I've heard before, enjoyed, but much like hirilorn, I just never followed them. Now that I have this in my hands, I know that I need to change that. But Nexul, man, this is really, really good. Basically take sort of the barbaric war metal sound of Blasphemy and combined it with the early symphonic black metal sound of Emperor, and you've pretty much got Nexul. And I know on paper that probably doesn't seem that unique, but honestly, I don't know a lot of bands that really do that. This is just like dark and evil as fuck sounding. I mean, this is really, really good, man. It's only 4 songs long and about 35 minutes, but this is just like a dark descent to fucking hell and back, man. Just absolutely vicious, evil, just grim sounding stuff. And I mean, obviously, you know, the fact that they're from Australia has held them back all these years from becoming and, you know, a bigger band and reaching a bigger audience. And I think that's bullshit that, you know, that thing kind of still exists. And the fact that, you know, people are always more attracted to bands from Norway, Sweden, or Finland. I mean, we need to get over that, man. We need to let some of these bands from down under or whatever get more attention, because god damn, this is so good. So this is a tape reissue from Seance Records, and it comes in this really cool looking, really awesome. I mean, I don't have any tapes like that. That's fucking cool, man. Check that out. Yeah, it has a nice little booklet to it too. I mean, this is just great stuff, man. Just dark and occult and just evil sounding. This is the kind of stuff I like about black metal. It just has that strange allure. You know, you can't walk away from it, man. It's so good, man. So obviously, you should, once again, I highly recommend this album, or really any of the albums from this band. I went ahead to listen to all of them once again. I have to say it's fantastic. So if you've never heard of Nexul, definitely choose a very, very good sort of war metal or symphonic black metal from down under in Australia. Just a great album. Here it comes. Continuing on, let's talk about the Ukrainian black metal band Hate Force and their 2003 album Battlefields, although what I have here is a 2009 reissue from Dread Records. So Hate Forest is almost certainly one of the most legendary and just well-known bands from Ukraine, and obviously with current events of war still going on in Ukraine, they've gotten even more attention. And I personally have known about Hate Force going back to maybe like 2010, 2011 when I picked up Purity. Absolutely loved it, but just didn't follow up. If you ever get sick and tired of me saying that, I don't know why I do it. It's just how I operate. This is a very unique album, one that I don't know that I've actually ever heard anything immediately like this. This is an album that's, at least to my ears, feels like it's very much dedicated to people of Ukraine and the various wars that so on have raged throughout Ukraine throughout history. It has this very militaristic and very sort of epic and dark and just bombastic sort of character to it that's just unlike anything I've ever heard. Some people, of course, have given the album a little bit of hate because there's a sort of like traditional folk songs that the band just sampled. And while I don't speak Ukrainian, I'm assuming there's something very deeply felt in the lyrics and the band or artists that originally performed these. But obviously a lot of people make that disconnection, obviously, and it's, you know, in the metal community or whatever, people just want to hear metal, so when they hear something folk related, they get offended or whatever. But I think like the folk songs really add a special sort of touch to this album. It takes you away from the chaos of this album, and this album is really very much feels like a document of just war and just rage and just anger that is sort of built up in the people of Ukraine and the members of this band for years. I mean, you know, it sort of fluctuates from these more atmospheric touches to this just all-out raging kind of moods that's just, man, I mean, it fucking rules, man. I never heard this album, or I've never heard Hate Force. I mean, this might not necessarily be the album to dive into, because I feel like it's very unique. Perhaps Purity or Sorrow would be a better album to dive into if you're unfamiliar with the band, but if you just want to hear something really unique, really epic, and just different sounding, man, this is the album for you, man. I mean, great stuff. So, as I said, this is the 2019 reissue from Dread Records. That's a cool looking art on the cassette. Here's the J card. This album is, like I said, very much dedicated to Ukraine and Ukrainian people, and I think, like, if you are from Ukraine or you have those kind of roots, you can definitely feel something special with this album. I mean, it's just, from more ragey to atmospheric parts, it's just a very unique, very special album, and I know, like, just by description, that's not gonna, like, really, like, click with most people and be like, or whatever, but, like, trust me when I say it, like, if you've never heard this album, this is different, this is unique, and not like anything else, not exactly like anything else I've ever heard before, so definitely look it up. Hate Force. Alright, one more for this black metal collection I picked. This is a band I've known for like 20 years, but I just didn't really start buying their records until about 10 years ago. And then another 10 years passed before I continued buying their records. So the band in question here is Satanic Warmaster, and their second album, Up for Blood. Up for Blood carries on in a very similar style as Strength and Honor, but something about this record, and I just can't really place it, just does not sound as strong as the debut. It has the same lineup. Musically, it's very similar, but just something about this record, and it seems to be a common feeling about this album, is that it's just not as good. I mean, there's some really cool riffs, and it has that very sort of distinctive raw black metal, finished style, where it's sort of sinister, but it also has those more kind of rocking, head-bobbing riffs. But just something about this record, no matter how many times I've listened to it, it just really isn't clicking with me. And it's not that it's bad, it's very standard, but looking back to this release and looking back to the early 2000s, I feel like this album, along with Horna's albums at the time, really helped to kind of establish, like, that raw black metal, finished black metal sound. I mean, it sounds so typical. Though I feel like if I had heard this back when it was first released, it maybe my feelings would be different with me. But as it is, this is just a very, very straightforward raw black metal. It's not bad, but it's not great either. The lineup for this one, of course, is Satanic Tyrant Werewolf, Lord Wartorek, and Lord Sarcophagian playing session drums. I mean, it's like, I don't know, something about it, I don't know, it just doesn't stand out the way Strength and Anger stands out, or Strength and Honor. I'm gonna continue to say it wrong. Strength and Honor. It's just something is missing, but at the same time, it's like it's there. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but not a horrible album, but just something about the songwriting. I don't know. It feels like it was rushed. So I don't know. That's my official stance in that one, and obviously I'm continuing to work my way through the Satanic Warmaster discography. Obviously, he has quite a few full-length albums and EPs and compilations and splits and all that stuff. So I'll get there eventually. But I guess most people on YouTube that talk about Black Album, they're talking about the new album, which I was okay, but I'm still working on catching up with the past before we get down. So, anyways, guys, that's it. Thank you, as always, for watching Joel's Metal Mancave. And remember, when you're dirty, wash up with Transylvanian Hunger Soap. Transylvanian Hunger! So pure! So selfie! Fuck it, whatever. Bye.